Yeah, so we had a few discussions with Dr. Lily prior to this training, and I think it's good for us to talk about why we are having this training before we dive into how to assess below 6 and apa lah. Yeah, so for your information, mungkin lah kot, I don't know. First, I believe you are aware of our existence, Akil. Yeah, I believe you understand our role where we check documents, we monitor good practices, we promote good practices, and I believe most of departments you have your own good practices lah yang you practice kat department. Cumanya I think many are or many of you are not aware of our second role, which is provide training sebenarnya. So Akil boleh sebenarnya untuk bagi training kepada staff. If you notice for sciences departments especially, we had a series of training already kan, just to prepare you for your curriculum review exercise. Yeah, so Alhamdulillah, we managed to conduct few training prior to your curriculum review and submission. Yeah, so for this one, the main reason why we are having this training, yeah, as Akil, I understand, we check documents and people say that words speak louder than, actions speak louder than words. Tapi for Akil, your words and your documents speak very loudly. The moment we look at your documents, kita dah nampak, oh ni tak ada teamwork ni. Dia nampak benda tu kan. Walaupun orang kata apa, boleh nampak ke teamwork ni, tapi from our experiences, kita boleh nampak the quality of the work, whether you actually put your teamwork, you put your commitment in your documents. Then, bila kita nak check your documents, so we notice that, especially for science department, terlalu macam, I would say, you have this like reservations when it comes to benda yang tak abstract, benda yang abstract ni kan, leadership, teamwork, apa lagi, lifelong learning. To me, dia bukannya satu masalah, mungkin sebab the nature of the program tu. So based on that observation, we think Aizat and our team as well, my team as well. So we decided to come up with one training sebab kita dah promise science department. So before you run ataupun implement the new curriculum, we make sure that you have the proper training, you have the proper knowledge, sufficient knowledge so that you are ready. Yeah, so Alhamdulillah, our team, we worked so hard. We submitted the proposal earlier actually. Lepas tu we tried to get speakers from kuliah. And then Dr. Lily macam Alhamdulillah sangat supportive sebab dia macam last minute. It's not because of our fault. I have to say this one. Sebab kita cuba dapatkan speaker tu daripada CPT tapi ada a few issues. Then barulah last week kita managed to get Dr. Lily. Yeah. To me she's the right person sebab considering dia punya credential, dia memang sangat orang kata apa, sangat layak untuk cakap pasal Pelosik. Walaupun dia macam from social sciences, tapi knowing her background, she is the right person to talk about, this issue for your perspective, yeah, untuk sciences. Okay, I want to inform Dr. Lily this morning, she cannot reach here by 9 sebab, a few issues. So, berdasarkan discussion dengan Dr. Lily, she asked me to actually handle. And if you notice, I actually sent an email to you guys yesterday, kan? I asked you to basically go through certain reading material yang kita share dekat OneDrive. So, that will be part of my welcome remarks, just an introduction to why we are having this training. And now, let's continue with our training. Sebab I think while waiting for Dr. Lily to come here and take over the floor, so let's start properly. So if you look at OneDrive, kita ada satu satu folder ni titled Training on Pelosik and Egg. So kita ada kongsi kita ada kongsi certain material for you to study. Okay, cuma yang saya nak minta, how many of you actually managed to watch the videos that Dr. Lily requested to watch prior to this training? Semua sempat tak tengok video tu? Okay, oh ya. Tak boleh buka yang lain sempat tengok tak video tu? Ada tak? Okay. Boleh tak? While waiting for Dr. Lily, I want everybody to go through this one. Simple je. Dia ada satu dokumen titled PLO6 and 8 worksheet. Saya nak semua tengok. Ambil masa sikit. Okay. sedikit lambat je kita punya wifi pagi ni. Okay, saya nak semua participants here, first of all, tolong go through this one. Lepas tu, kalau sempat tolong tengok video ni. Okay, ada dua video sepatutnya, video 1 and video 2. Yang mana tak dapat tengok kat ayah? Oh, video 1. Okay. So boleh tak kita macam ambil sikit masa untuk tengok sekejap video ni? Ha? Tengok macam sama kat sini. Okay, betul juga kan? Sebab macam exercise tu dia macam tinggal exercise tu patut tengok awal dulu kan. Kita dah tukar kita punya plan. Okay, tapi sebelum tu kan, saya lupa nak ucapkan terima kasih banyak-banyak. First to my team. This training actually led by Brother Aizat. Thank you so much Aizat and the team for making this possible. And of course the team department, we have Ustaz Kazman, Mr. Rahman. We also have siapa lagi? I also noticed Sister Mazlina from ICT, Kak Azla. Thank you so much Brother Nazim, Brother Pasha, and your team members. Thank you so much for coming. Yeah, so hopefully we get as many benefits as possible. Yeah, as I said before ataupun prior to this training, saya ada a few discussion with Dr. Lily. Walaupun discussion macam sangat sekejap, tapi I learned a lot already. Macam saya baru perasan, rupanya macam I have to look at from that perspective for me to faham kenapa tak boleh buat. Kenapa perkataan sentensi itu terlalu tinggi untuk siapa student. Oh, kenapa macam ni, macam ni. I learned a lot. Hopefully you get the same benefit as well, insyaAllah. Okay, so let's watch this video sama-sama dekat sini.
Dari situ semakin baik dan kita buat cita-cita terhadap putih dan ini kita sedang menjalankan
Masuk dalam video, masuk.
dan apakah pandangan berkenaan dengan sendiri oleh Kementerian Kesihatan.
So, cabut jantung. Ya, video ni dah macam. Betul kan video ni? Okey. Sama-sama.
Berkenaan dengan vaksin yang diberikan dalam coronavirus yang sudah dihasilkan oleh secara bersama-sama oleh kerajaan China dan menggunakan
Untuk saya ni dah masih 10 tahun.
dan kita buat cita-cita terhadap putih dan ini kita sedang menjalankan ke atas manusia. Berkenaan dengan vaksin yang diberikan dalam coronavirus yang sudah dihasilkan oleh secara bersama-sama oleh kerajaan China dan menggunakan perkembangan vaksin itu semakin baik dan kita buat cita-cita terhadap putih dan ini kita sedang menjalankan ke atas manusia. Dan apakah pandangan berkenaan dengan vaksin ini oleh Kementerian Kesihatan dan apakah ia juga bersentuh oleh pasukan pangkat China dari Indonesia?
Negara China telah pun berbincang dengan Kementerian Kesihatan mengenai vaksin. Kajian setakat ini adalah kajian fasa kedua. Tetapi mereka akan siap kajian fasa kedua mungkin dalam bulan November ataupun Disember. Dan bila selesai kajian fasa kedua, kita akan melaksanakan kajian fasa ketiga, iaitu melihat kepada keberkesanan vaksin tersebut di dalam manusia. Jadi mungkin kita telah berbincang dengan mereka dalam dua sidang video dan mereka telah setuju kalau kita boleh jadikan sebagai negara yang dijadikan tempat pendidikan untuk kajian fasa ketiga. Jadi kita tunggulah keputusan laporan ujian fasa kedua dulu sebelum kita boleh teruskan ke fasa ketiga.
Okay. Tengok video satu lagi. Hopefully I can access that one.
Proses saringan kes COVID-19 masih berjalan.
Macam mana nak buka yang ni? Ya, ICT people, how do I sepatutnya kalau dalam live dia terus clickable kan, tapi yang ni it's not clickable. Check tekan link. Saya pun tak check juga semalam pagi je dekat participants. Tak apa, mungkin Dr. Lily akan check kau nanti. Sebab dia, is it macam image? It's not macam link kan, macam it's an image. Cuba. Oh. Tak ada, dia hanya bagi this document je. Ya. Okay, tak apa. Kalau macam tu kita go through the first page. Okay, so what Dr. Lily would love to do with everybody this morning. Okay, first of all, dia memang worksheet ni untuk participants. Hi Dwayne, how are you? Please and having breakfast first, yeah, Dwayne. Okay, so let's talk about the learning outcome. Yeah. So according to Dr. Lily and also based on our conversations and communication, first we hope everybody here in this room you are able to relate CLO, course learning outcomes, to PLO 6 and 8. Again, kenapa kita pilih PLO 6 and 8 based on what we notice and based on our observations. Yeah, we notice that many have issues, I would say. It's not that you are not ready, it's just that you are not certain. Boleh ke macam ni, macam mana nak access, Rubik macam mana nak guna kan. So we have all those issues. So hopefully by the end of this training, you are able to relate your CLO regardless of your program, sciences, biology, physics, mathematics, arts, and all those. You are able to relate your CLO to 6 and 8. But I understand sebab kita dah buat kita punya mapping tu kan. So not all the courses ataupun course outline would be relevant. Tapi mungkin lepas ni you nak consider sebab especially for sciences we are still submitting our proposal to HVAC, betul tak? So selagi mana tak masuk ke Senate, you still have the chance to improve sebenarnya. So contohlah after attending this training, you would love to consider nak add more PLO 6 and 8 to your course outline. Why not? Sebab at the moment based on my when I scrutinize and study your course outline for sciences especially, saya nampak yang ambil chemistry 1 and 2, bio tak ambil langsung, these two. Kita nampak statistik satu, lepas tu introduction to engineering, yang tu je. So mungkin lepas ni lagi ramai yang willing untuk take up the 2 PLOs, who knows kan? So mungkin. Lepas tu, kalau contoh you tak nak ambil pun, I understand sebab you went through a lot, you dah ada discussion dengan kuliah. I respect that one. Saya tak nak macam impose, kena ubah. Yang tu saya dah respect sebab you dah invite so many people to help produce your course outline, improve your course outline. Yang tu saya respect. Cumanya kod-kod lah, kita macam boleh lah PLO 6 dekat subjek bio ni. So, why not? Sebab tak masuk lagi ke sana, kita boleh lagi improve, insyaAllah. Lepas tu, the second PLO would be to produce relevant assessment plans. So basically, we would love to choose what would be the right assessment methods for you to assess students' abilities to do lifelong learning, to work in groups, yeah, to have leadership skill. So what would be the right assessment methods? Adakah dengan project sahaja? Presentation tak boleh ke? Test possible ke tak? So you may have all those concerns kan? So hopefully by attending this training, we are able to address lah. Mungkin not everything, maybe not fully address, but hopefully you get some ideas and you can experiment after the training, insyaAllah. Okay, now, sorry. Faham? Saya join Zoom ni. Lepas tu, share dekat Zoom tu. Boleh? Oh. Dr. Lily punya ni nanti macam tak banyak pun dia punya slide. Dia lebih kepada kongsi. So nak kongsi Zoom juga. Yang tak nampak kan slide tu macam nampak cerah je kan. Betul juga. Sekejap sebab online participant dia request untuk tengok the boleh juga. Okay, siapa yang baru join, please go and have your breakfast. We ordered a lot actually. So please, kita memang order untuk setiap HOD. Sebab tu saya minta HOD kalau tak dapat datang, please don't find replaces lah. So dia tak membazir. Saya tak suka membazir makanan. Okay, sambil-sambil tunggu untuk set up the Zoom ni, sebab untuk pengetahuan semua kita ada hantar satu form untuk isi your expectations kan. Dan saya notice ada 3 sahaja feedback daripada the participants tu. Nak tahu boleh tak macam kongsi sikit your feedback verbally right now? Boleh tak saya nak dengar? Daripada grup ni dulu boleh? Grup 3. Okay. Oh, grup 3 tengah makan. Grup 2 lah. Sorang-sorang je. Apa expectation for this training? Seorang je. Itulah pada pada Nazir ke. Simple-simple, apa expectation you? Sambil-sambil. Echa ke? Esa sorry, Echa. Esa. Okay, sila. So kita. Apa expectation? Yeah. Okay, to see appropriate assessments, this group.
We already actually commit to certain for example, tapi waktu tu we just commit to put it really into our assessment class.
Ya, faham. Kalau perasan untuk arts, walaupun you have implemented your new curriculum kan, tapi then you decided to include below 6 and 8 kan, tapi sometimes you are not sure whether you are doing the right things or not kan. Hopefully this training sort of like confirms your understanding kan. Kadang-kadang kita kena ada that confirmation, betul ke ni kan. So that's why we have to have the right person lah to confirm our practices. Okay, group sana, Hawa and the members, Adibah ke, apa expectation nak belajar apa daripada training ni? Adibah. Okay, to what extent can we actually assess leadership? Kan, berapa markah nak bagi kan? Boleh ke 10 markah? Ya, betul.
Yes.
Boleh. Terima kasih banyak.
Alright. So I think in terms of assessment itu mudah lah. Most of the time it's complex.
Betul.
Tapi persoalan yang saya ada, the thing which I had in my mind is, before we assess, kita kena bagi peluang dia cuba betul.
Betul.
So number satu, just say leadership. How much do we know about leadership that kita nak bagi dia what? Ataupun what should we actually do in class that actually improve the leadership sebelum kita bagi dia markah. Kita tak boleh kata, okay, you all buat activity, buat, and then the end kita bagi markah gitu je. We can't do that. Right? If we don't give any instruction at all, lepas kita expect untuk memberi dia markah, dia tak adil untuk dia. Dan dia tak adil untuk bagi satu tu cikgu mengajar kalau dia tak tahu apa. So ada banyak lifelong learning, kita ada apa lagi satu?
Leadership, teamwork.
leadership.
Yeah.
So I'm actually interested bukan dekat part assessment. I'm more interested about how do you actually scaffold benda tu sampai last kali you boleh dapat, towards assessment.
Faham?
Itu
So
saya.
basically macam to what extent do teachers need to know the knowledge about leadership, and then for student, how do we actually gauge their understanding of the PLOs, to especially of the concepts lah, not PLO, of the concept, leadership and teamwork. Then, or is it fair to assess when they have like little knowledge or they have never been exposed to the concepts? Okay, hopefully we can answer. Okay, lagi siapa nak kongsi? Aizat, dia nak tolong? Rasa Dr. Lee dah sampai ke? Mungkin dia nak help dekat parking lot. Sebab kita dah reserve dia punya space dekat betul-betul by he and she yang ada cone. Thanks Aizat. Okay, lagi? Okay, yang belakang Kak Azlah ke, and the team, Kak Dayang, Dayana, Dayang pula sorry. Sempat, okay. Ustaz Alip ke, Kak Lim. Oh, orang hebat-hebat ni. Ni bakal-bakal semua ni, bakal-bakal, kita nampak ni. Okay, okay, Kak Dayana.
Actually, for maths subject, we don't have the PLO 6 and 3. But
Yeah, statistic.
previously, we
Oh.
don't have this PLO 6 and 8. But now we are actually have to take this PLO 6. So my concern is how we can come up with the rubrics to assess on this lifelong learning.
Lifelong learning.
So this is my expectation is like to come up with that rubric, how to assess them.
Okay, I think before we proceed kan, let's give a big round of applause to mathematics lah. Sebab they are willing to take up PLO 6 kan. Selama ni tak pernah ada 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Mungkin lah 3 sikit, level 3, pop, PLO 6 lah. I think that's a big change already that you like willing to take up. Yeah. Kudos to Brother Nazim and the team, ya. Okay, lagi mungkin tim kat sini. Kak Ana. Expectations. Sebab ICT pun kalau tak silap banyak yang ada. Okay, ICT paling banyak ada 6 dan 8 kan. Sebab almost like your courses tu ada you masukkan 6 and 8. If I'm not mistaken, ya. Yeah, so apa expectation Kak Ana lah before kita run this new curriculum ni. And kok ada concern. Fatimah ke? Fatimah Zahra? Fatimah siapa? Rabiah tu kan? Bukan? Salah orang tu. Betul, Rabiah tu kan Fatimah? Azhara? Ha? Suka hati. Minta maaf. Okay, umur ya. Faham? So macam antara concern kita orang juga dekat Akil kan. Contohlah ada orang tanya kan macam mana nak access lifelong learning ni. So if you ask me pun say I can go back to my practice dekat LMD before I take over the position kan. Biasa LMD kita akan tengok dia punya knowledge management. Tapi when I talk to Dr. Lily, it's not about knowledge management per se. It can be so many things, creativity. So cumanya macam how do we actually conceptualize this concept? Still abstract kan? Nak access creativity, macam mana? Do they have to go like as rigorous as what AED is doing? Kena datang portfolio, kena present. Sampai macam tu sekali ke kan? Yeah. So I don't think it's easy for us kan sebab we are not trained to access something yang abstract. I like AED sebab they are trained. Dia tengok pun sudah nampak dah kan. Saya dengan Badar Rafa'i kena tengok poster, oh tak cantik ni. Macam kita macam apa macam okey je kan. Tapi their eyes have been trained to spot the mistakes. So tak sama dengan kita kan. So macam mana kita nak conceptualize those concepts? Okay, dah. Hi, Assalamualaikum, Dr. Lily. Yeah, finally, yeah. Please, everybody give Dr. Lily a big round of applause. Yeah. Dr. Lily dah makan, nak breakfast dulu? Okay. Yeah, so I'm taking over Dr. Lily. Sekejap. I'm taking the limelight. Okay, yeah, so without any further ado, let's welcome our speaker. Mungkin Hafizah nak cerita sikit pasal kita punya speakers punya background, lupa. Okay. Secara ringkas Hafizah, before we invite our speaker. Yeah, so thank you so much everybody for your feedback. We take your feedback into consideration and hopefully Dr. Lily can respond, inshallah. Yeah. Very quickly.
Right, so let me briefly introduce our speaker today, Associate Professor Dr. Lily Suryani. So she works at Kuliah of Sustainable Tourism and Contemporary Languages, KSTCL, right? So as a lecturer, chairman of the quality unit and the coordinator of internship. So she holds a PhD in English Language Studies from IIM, master's degree in science in education psychology from UPM, and bachelor's degree in education with first class honors from Moray House College, Edinburgh. Right, so with that, I would like to invite Associate Professor Dr. Lily Suryani to start the training.
Okay.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Dia bawa tangan lagi.
Daripada pagi rasa-rasa lah.
Ini bulan depan nanti main.
Dah buat setakat mana sekarang? Where are you at the moment?
Kita baru je introduction.
Oh, okay.
Satu lagi ni.
Oh, yang ni belum. Oh, okay. Alright. Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Before we look into OBE and also hoping to achieve what we hope to achieve today, I personally thought that it would be useful if I understand you a little bit better. And how do I do that? Is by you answering these questions. Yeah. So if you don't mind, kita boleh spend maybe half an hour for you to what I plan here is that personally sendiri-sendiri jawab dulu yang dalam kotak tu. Termasuklah there are so many lifelong learning skills, leadership skills, entrepreneurial skills. Jawab dulu semua tu. And then in your table, share your answers, ya. Nanti saya nak dengar jawapan secara berkumpulan daripada setiap meja. This is for me to understand where you are at. Okay. So maybe we can do that for about 30 minutes. Online.
So walking with the instruction, kita tengok, sambil tu buka lah keropok tu, prepare tu, makan dulu. Okay. For online participants, we are having a group discussion right now. So inshallah by 10, then Dr. Lee will talk about we'll touch on the topic inshallah by 10. Okay, kod ada yang tak faham, mungkin confusion kan, apa beza summative dengan formative. So summative tu yang kita buat allocate 2 jam untuk final, sejam untuk test, 5 minit untuk presentation, yang itulah kita buat. Tapi untuk formative, tu summative tadi. Untuk formative, mungkin kita buat 5 minit kahut setiap kali kelas. Lepas tu kita bagi homework 5 minit pula. So agak-agak je lah kan. Dr. Lily kan for one semester. Ya. Okay. Begitu je. Formative non-graded, summative graded. Agak-agak lah ya.
Yang ini ni dah download ya? Saya ni, dan nanti kita dah download ya? Lepas kalau
Ya, saya download.
Dia ada sharing practice. Share practice. Forward sharing.
Okay, are we ready to share whatever you've got? Alright, terima kasih. Boleh tak kita for management ya, kita namakan group ni nombor 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ada nombor ya? 3. Okay. Yang mana satu? 1, 2, 3. Lagi? 4? 4. 5? 5. 6. 6. 7 8. Okay. Alright. So let's look at saya nak mungkin satu wakil daripada setiap group just share collective answers ya. For example, my course is important or valuable if my students wish to work in profession apa. Okay. So you collect. Bagi je a list. Okay, group 1. Group 1 tak ready lagi? Group 1 dah ready? Okay.
My course is important or valuable if my student wish to work in profession, industrial education, medicinal profession, pharmaceutical, and business software development.
Okay. Wow. That's really wow. Right. Good. Thank you. Group 2? Group 2?
My course is important or valuable if my student wish to work in to work as an engineer, programmer, lecturer, and public relations.
Lebih penting semua Yeah. Okay. Good. Thank you. Group 3?
We are from various departments, so our answer is rather collective. I'm not a science teacher, but I'll be reading it out loud. My course is important or valuable if my student wish to work in computer sciences, education, banking, economy, accountancy, as well as the legal profession.
Right. Alhamdulillah. Wow, macam-macam. Wow. Good. Okay. The next group?
Assalamualaikum. We are from group 4. My course is important or valuable if my students wish to work in first legal field, second scientific research, third lecturer, fourth scientist, fifth doctor, sixth pharmacist, seven analyst.
Alhamdulillah. Yeah. Thank you. Besar profession dia.
Okay, my course is important. I'm from ICT. We are teaching ethical digital literacy, and we just run the course for this semester. Okay, so our course actually is important or valuable if my student wish to work in all professions. So they do need it.
Agree. Especially today. Dengan scammer ni kan. Yeah. Very
we
important.
teach that.
You teach to scam ke?
I mean, no, we teach how to remember scam.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
Right, my course is important or valuable if my student wish to work in profession. We are coming from different departments. So some of them will be religious affairs, academy, education, including teaching and management, language management, researchers, chemistry industry, translators, forensics, pharmaceuticals, and etc.
Alhamdulillah. Okay.
And also person handling with numbers because also kat matematik.
Okay, matematik pun dia penting in banyak
Yeah,
fields,
for
kan?
sure.
Alright, thank you.
Okay, so from group 7, my course is important or valuable if my student wish to work in profession, engineering, education sector, information technologies, computer programming, languages, which is translated, religious sectors, journalists, and entrepreneurs.
Okay, thank you, good. And the last group?
I'm Sharifah from Physics Department. My course is important or valuable if my students wish to work in companies or any sector related to engineering field and education.
Okay, all right, thank you. So from your answers, you can see that you are very important to individuals, to the young generations of the country, to the country itself in providing professionals, yeah? And I'm glad that you realize that you have a role in producing these professionals. Very important role, okay? So let's look at the qualities that you hope or you feel that your students must have in order to work in whatever professions that you mentioned earlier. Maybe satu group, satu most important quality. Just sort of like shout satu quality.
Kuat-kuat, ya.
Yeah. Knowledgeable, okay, knowledgeable. Itu PLO1, okay, knowledgeable. Right, mesti kena knowledgeable. Important. Okay, something different from this group. Ethical, all right, important. Okay. Amanah. Betul. Betul. Amanah, ethical. Itu dah PLO6, PLO8 dah tu kan? Sana? Boleh balik ah. Confident, okay, confident kan? Competent, alright, competent, true, very true. Teamwork, okay. I'm happy to see 6-8 ni dok keluar, very early. Yes, okay, teamwork, yes.
Leadership quality.
Leadership, okay ni? Satu quality, very important quality. Management, good management skills. Discipline, important, yes, very, very important. Yeah? Adaptability, yes. Especially in today's world where they do not, macam dia tak boleh fikir yang macam contohnya belajar mathematics tu hanya untuk jadi mathematics teacher or lecturer kan. They have to be able to adapt to a lot of fields. Good. All right. Okay, now let's go into the academic work. So what you have mentioned to me earlier is that you were sharing with me of quality ataupun traits ataupun karakter yang penting, yang harus ada di kalangan professionals dan harus diterapkan atau mesti diterapkan ke dalam di kalangan pelajar-pelajar kita supaya they can be good professionals as well. Right. Let's look at the documents that you use in order to prepare or review your course outline. How many documents do you have? Siapa yang ada paling banyak? Ada berapa? Aizat ada berapa? Aizat ada berapa? 4. Siapa boleh beli 4? Siapa boleh beli 4 sana? Ada berapa? 4 juga? 5? Ada 5. Okay. 5. Siapa boleh beli 5? Siapa boleh beli 5? Okay, 5. Kita dengar daripada grup 5. Yang ada 5. Okay, the first one. Oh, 6. Okay. Alright.
Alright, so the first one, guideline curriculum for foundation, CL. Second one, room taxonomy.
Right.
The third one, textbook.
Right.
Number 4, the sound element.
Textbook and then
Sound,
sound. Sejahtera framework. Okay.
framework. Okay, so and then we gather all the kuliah feedback.
Hmm.
And then the benchmarking. We did the benchmarking.
Good.
And then we use that as a guideline.
When you are reviewing. Good. Very good. Okay. So that's the minimum that you should have. Of course, there are more. All right. And please remember, those are the important documents that we have to have when we prepare our course outline. Yang ni yang best sekali. How many formative assessment and summative assessment, and how much time you spend in constructing, conducting, and marking the course assessment. Okay, which group has more formative assessment or about the same as summative assessment? More formative assessment time than summative. Jadi summative more. Formative more. Formative more. Okay. Formative more berapa banyak? Okay. Summative? 10%. Okay. So if you have formative tak jauh daripada summative, I think you are on the right track. Kalau katakanlah formative sangat sikit, then summative sangat banyak, then you need to review or reflect on the practice, ya. Sebab formative ni ialah bila kita bagi latihan dan sebagainya tapi kita tak bagi markah untuk pemahaman. Tapi kalau itu terlalu rendah, then it tells us that we are missing something, ya. Okay. And how much time do you spend to construct, conduct, and mark? I saw like 124 tadi. Anyone have more? More than 124? More than 124. 100. 200. More than 200. Tapi in general. In general. Yang ni yang paling banyak berapa? 82. Okay. If you ask me, if you spend a lot of hours in constructing, conducting, and marking, obviously you are very busy lah. Yes. Very busy. And this is something that you have to think also, whether you are doing things in an efficient way. Right? Saya faham yang macam katakanlah ada workshop sebelum semester bermula sebab semester sangat sibuk. Tapi that tells us also whether we are actually being fair to ourselves and also to the students. Ya, sebab bila kita cakap pasal assessment ni, sepatutnya pada saya lah, students should be busier than us, not us busier than them. Okay, alright. So bila kita nak cuba buat assessment secara efficient, kita fikirkan cara very simple on us, but students yang kena tungkus lumus untuk belajar, ya. Alright. Okay. So in your class, what kind of characters do you build? Boleh bagi satu karakter daripada belakang, karakter apa yang diterapkan dan mungkin dinilai di dalam kelas, walaupun mengajar sains, matematik, computer, what kind of characters you hope you can have? Discipline, okay, discipline, integrity, Islamic, very Islamic, full of integrity. Lagi? Ada teamwork, okay? Punctuality, yes. Respect, okay, good. So these things, as you notice, can take place through the teaching process, or it can be assessed. Not everything that we teach need to be assessed, but it has to be in the teaching and learning process, and some of them need to be considered in order for us to assess, sebab kita nak membina quality professional tadi, right? Especially karakter yang diperlukan in the profession yang kita sebut tadi awal-awal. Katakanlah kita perlukan dia menjadi astronaut ke, kan? Jadi dia mesti contohnya punctual, kan? Dia mesti ada disiplin, ada integrity. So that need to be assessed in order for our students to be able to function well in their professions. Okay, thank you for that shared information. Okay. I'm sure you know the lifelong learning skills, leadership skills, and entrepreneurial skills. Kita skip lah yang tu ya. Alright? I'm sure you have a list. Nanti saya pergi to all groups and see. This is something yang saya nak everyone buat. Very important. Pilih satu course outline yang mungkin you are using or you have proposed to use in the future. And look at your course outline and look at the part where you have the assessment, ada kotak kan, course assessment, and how you map it with the PLO, the domain, the percentage. Salin aja balik, masukkan dalam kotak. Lepas tu, isi apa yang dapat diperhatikan di kotak yang hujung sekali. This is very important for everyone to observe their own course outlines. Can you do that? Maybe I give you 20 minutes to do that.
Participants domain tu merujuk kepada cognitive, affective and psychomotor CAP. Kalau sains punya soalan ada terus yang CAP tu. Untuk arts kita tengok action verb you. Kan? Kalau explain tu biasanya cognitive lah. Kan? Kalau perform boleh jadi psychomotor. So bergantung kepada your action verb. Ni untuk arts dan AED. Tapi untuk sciences sebab you are still using the old course outlines. So terus rujuk je kepada course outline kan ada CAP, C berapa, P berapa. Ada kat tepi tu. Dekat kotak kat atas dia CAP kat atas. Yang lama, masalah lama. Sekarang not lama sekarang yang guna lagi lah. Untuk sciences. Tapi untuk arts, you have to look at the action verbs.
Okay, on the screen, you see an example of how I have mapped statistics, yeah, LTCL 0123. So that's how it's done.
Dia nak besarkan macam So untuk tim matematik punya team ya, so I actually shared your course outline with Dr. Lily sebab again I think because Dr. Lily is very committed, she wants to understand our culture, our nature, so she requested for the course outline. She in fact actually interviewed us nak betul-betul faham CFS ni apa kan. So yang ni memang statistik punya course outline yang baru yang draft. So dia dah map properly, so have a look. So according to Dr. Lily, she did not amend pun your persoalan. She just tengok, dia tambah-tambah untuk komen sahaja. So she did not do anything. Jadi dia buat. Nah, boleh saya akan minta. Ini cuma dia hak dia. Kenapa macam? Oh.
If you have completed, please comment on the column yang ada observation tu. What what do you see happening in your class in terms of the assessments that you are doing in order to achieve the CLOs?
What? Skip to the right. To the left, baru itu right. Jadi
Tapi kalau ada progresi
Siapa yang dah siap yang the first one tu boleh continue with this one. Copy paste je, berapa quiz, assessment, assignment 20%. Lepas tu copy paste your CLO. Masuk dalam tempo.
Oh.
Once you are done with the first task, proceed with this one, simply copy and paste. Betul dia progresif kan daripada awal, your first assessment, and then the next one until your final exam.
In this case, I don't really know what happens in the class, but I map it based on if I were the lecturer, I would do the quiz first before I ask for the assignment, kan? Jadi sebab tu saya buat quiz dahulu. Lepas tu assignment, lepas tu totalnya project, and then final exam. In terms of what is required of the students, sebab kita ajar, kita nak dia cover a lot of things, kan? Dalam quiz, especially, we shouldn't be covering more in quiz than in the project, kan? That's why I arrange it in that way, assuming that it is done in that way. Yeah. So you can arrange it in the way that you are doing it. Transfer aja daripada kotak tu, dan kita tengok sama ada satu the flow of your quiz. Are you happy? For example, contohnya you ada contoh lah ya, you ada assignment, project, quiz. Are you happy? If you're happy, you feel that that is a need, okay. You must have your own reasons, but then look at what you cover in those assessment. Adakah flow-nya cantik? Ataupun level of difficulty dia agak tunggang terbalik? That is something for you to observe.
Dr. Lily is referring to statistic punya course outline tadi. Yeah, so she's using the same course outline statistics for this one.
Okay, I hope you have mapped out the table as well as the diagram. And what I hope for you to see, yeah, like what I saw in, when I mapped this proposed outline for statistics. For example, if you map that, and you saw that, if let's say you saw that, oh, for one CLO, I will try to achieve through my quiz, my assignment, my final exam, my project. And then CLO2 also, my quiz, my assignment, my final exam. And CLO3 also, quiz, assignment, final exam. CLO4 also, quiz, assignment, final exam. And you will cover all this that you plan to cover. I think you have a lot of work to do. Banyak kerja. Right? Nak buat soalan, lepas tu bukan soalan sekali setahun kan? So, this is when I say it's not really efficient. Okay, so you have to think of ways where you don't have to try to achieve one CLO in so many assignments. Yeah, kalau when you map, and if you see this, then there is a problem. Like so many assessments, and then look also at the CLO itself. When you use the reporting verb, memang nampak tak ada sangat that assessment or CLO that build the character of the students. It's just the skills sahaja. So tadi macam you katakan, they have to have the qualities and they have to have whatever in order to be in the professionals. You are not providing that learning experience through your CLO. It's too skill-based. Okay. You may have your own reasons, but if let's say as educators kan, kita nak give more than skills because itu memang tanggungjawab kita, then you have to think about what you see in the map as well as in macam kat sini. Macam kat sini nampak bila dah bubuh, maksudnya bila quiz yang 20%, you try to achieve all that and the student should be able to do all that. Assignments pun all that. Project sikit je. Lepas tu, again, final exam, all that. Yeah. So, that will be very tiring, yeah, for both you and the students. So, if you want to make it achieving PLO 6 and 8, then consider on like decision making, using technology, all right? Do some real life exercise, okay? Okay, okay, I asked you to watch the videos. Ada satu je video. Okay, I share the video on our XDG Tan Sri during COVID-19 hari tu kan. As an educator, what did you observe? If you watch the video, educating, lagi? What do you observe? Tenang, okay, dia tenang. Lagi? Professional, convincing, ability to solve conflict. Ability to solve conflict, yes. Yes. what do you realize? Apa tentang COVID-19 dan also Tan Sri yang menyedarkan kita? We notice, kita realize that bila ada isu, contohnya pandemic, war, we need science people to be able to communicate. The nation did not believe politicians. The same information was given by politicians or whoever, tapi orang tak nak. Orang nak dengar orang yang credible, macam orang sains, matematik dan sebagainya, dan orang percaya. They want to believe. And the whole country was calm and happy because dia dengar orang yang not only credible, tetapi dapat communicate dengan cara yang boleh difahami. And communication lecturers cannot do that. Hanya science lecturers can help science students to do that. Or technology. Social science memang duk buat hari-hari. Yeah? Only science and technology lecturers, teachers can build such character. When they go into the bachelor and all that, they will be too busy belajar ilmu lain, kan? Tapi you are very important in providing that opportunity untuk dia sedar, oh, not only I learn science or technology or math or whatever, tapi if I am able to tell people my knowledge, my message in a very plain, simple way, tak perlu grammar perfect apa, tapi very plain, simple way, I can manage to help the country, convince the audience, and make them follow my instructions. Imagine apa saja dia kata masa tu, semua kita ikut. Sebab kita percaya. Because dia ada credibility because of dia punya background as well as dia punya communication skills. So you have a very important role here. Okay. Right. So before we go into the training, kita main game sikit. Yeah. Can we divide ourselves into like 4 groups, like dua major combined. Yeah. I'm sorry, mungkin tak sama apa the number tak sama, tapi tak apalah, for the fun of having a little break.
Kan sis, mungkin kita guna 4 meja ni tengah tadi. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nombor 2, nombor 5, belakang tu lain 7, 8 lah. 4 meja ni. So group yang lain-lain tu bergerak ke 4 meja ni untuk game.
Okay, kalau boleh berdiri kelilingi meja dan kosongkan sikit bahagian depan. Maybe because ramai kan, jadi maybe draw pula. Stand in a line. Stand one line di tepi meja. Stand one line di tepi meja. Sebab nak keliling macam dah ramai. Stand one line. Okay, beratur macam one line. Boleh. Risau. Okay, ini teamwork teamwork. Okay. Yang ni berapa? 1, 2, boleh tak kira? 1, 2. Kita tengok berapa orang. 9. Sini. 13. Sini. 9. 9 9. Ini 12. Okey, yang 13 dengan 12 boleh tak macam pecah seorang dua orang masuk yang kat 9 just to make it lebih kurang sama. Jadi yang ni 10. Jadi 11. Nanti tadi 9 kan? Boleh tak dua orang masuk? Dua orang masuk. Dua masuk. Okey, kita tak boleh exactly sama, tak apalah ya, lebih kurang ya. Just tu ni. Okey, sekarang it's up to you how you want to do it. Tapi kita kalau boleh kita nak lapangkan sikit. Okey, meja katakanlah kat sini kan. Ada ruang kan? Ada ruang kan? Okay, yang ni macam tak ada ruang. Maybe kat sini. Tak tunggu kat sini. Kat sini. Okay. Okay. Alright. Okay. With your teamwork, with your amanah, with your ethics, with your discipline, yeah, you make sure you manage supaya semua orang dalam group participate, ya. Okay, tak ada siapa ketinggalan. Okay, what do I want you to do? Apa yang kita buat ialah sekarang ni kap dia kat sini. Make sure ada 10. Boleh kira tak? Make sure 10. 10. Okay. Semua susun macam ni. Boleh tak? Susun macam ni. Susun macam ni. Okay. Okay. Susun macam ni. Macam ni. Tak apa. Okay. Alright. Sekarang ni group kita nak seorang kita take turn ya, selang-seli. Seorang buat piramid. Seorang kumpul balik macam ni. Seorang buat piramid, seorang kumpul balik buat macam ni. Faham tak? Kiranya piramid runtuhkan. Piramid runtuhkan. Runtuhkan macam ni. Okay? Right? Jadi the last person to habis angkat tangan. The group angkat tangan lah, dia menang. Okay. Okay, nak plan ke? Nak plan strategi ke? Nak plan strategi ke? Okay. Okay, don't have to lie. Strategi. Datang sini. Faham kan instruction? Faham ya? Jadi orang yang pertama buat piramid. Orang yang kedua runtuhkan macam ni. Orang yang ketiga buat balik. Orang yang keempat buat. Ya? Sampai habis. Bila runtuh macam ni Susun semula kap tu jadi macam ni. Okay. Strategi sekarang. Okay, get to your lines. Be ready in your lines. Berdiri dalam line. Ada siapa-siapa nak tolong ambil video ke? Ni, Aizan, nak ambil video? Ambil video ke? Pokok lah nak ambil video. Ke you all nak join? You all nak join ke? Tak nak join? Okay, ready? Ready? 1, two, go.
Nervous.
Alhamdulillah. Okay. From that activity, we are going to move to looking at how to assess of program learning outcome, PRO 6 and 8, and a little bit on outcome-based education or outcome-based learning, ya. Siapa yang very familiar dengan outcome-based education or learning? Aizat tu gila dah lah dia. Aizat lagi? Ayani. Okay. Okay. Alright. In short, to put it in a very simple way, outcome-based education or outcome-based learning ni lebih kurang macam kita stack the cup study tu lah. Ya. Maksudnya, sebelum kita buat apa-apa, kita dah tahu objektif atau matlamat yang kita nak capai. Right? Macam tadi kita dah tahu, kita nak buat piramid. Kita nak buat piramid. Lepas tu tadi kan semua orang strategize. Betulkan kerusi dan sebagainya kan. Sebab nak buat cup, nak susun, nak runtuhkan dalam masa yang tercepat. So, everyone is clear of what we want to do, what we want to achieve, and how to get there. Lepas tu kita execute. That is similar with outcome-based education. Outcome-based education, dia macam top down tu. Kita dah tahu dah graduates atau graduate macam mana yang kita nak hasilkan. Yang ada skill apa? Kenapa? To serve dalam industri mana? Kepakaran apa? Kita dah tahu dah. Jadi, bila kita dah tahu, kita ambil peranan masing-masing untuk contribute to the teaching and learning process. Itu outcome based. Jadi, sekarang ni kita tahu yang kita tak boleh bekerja daripada macam bottom up. Maksudnya, kita buat course kita. Buat in isolation. Tak tahu kiranya kita buat because of the textbook ataupun because of what we feel fits. It shouldn't be that way. What we should do is that before we start constructing our course outline ataupun fikir apa nak ajar, kita kena tanya what is the overall picture. Especially for foundation, it is very important for you to have program education outcome. Tapi saya minta tak ada kan? Which is something for you to consider. I think it is very important for you to start considering karakter, perwatakan, knowledge, skill, apa yang student foundation patut ada when they leave the center in order to go to the bachelor degree. Sebab tak ada, kita terpaksa bergantung kepada bachelor degree yang sangat jauh tu, lagi 4-5 tahun. But when you have your own, then it will be very easy for you to operate sebab you tahu destinasi dia. Sekarang ni destinasi tu tak ada. So it's the same, like for example, let's say you want to macam kata saya nak datang ke Gambang. Jadi tahu destinasi Gambang. Jadi dah buat preparation untuk datang ke Gambang. It's easier that way rather than saya prepare je apa-apa tapi tak tahu nak ke mana lagi. Right? So outcome-based learning is something that you have to know the PO, and then whatever kita buat dalam kelas tu ialah untuk support that intention ataupun niat ataupun objektif program tersebut. Okay? And as you can see in the game tadi, kita tak boleh buat piramid kalau kita tak susun very strong and broad foundation. Kita perlukan 4 cups kan untuk julang yang satu tu. You ada dekat yang 4 cups tu. So, if you don't provide that strong and broad foundation, yang cup yang satu tu tak akan ada di atas. So, this is something that you have to sit and think. And you are doing a lot of work, but are you providing that broad and also strong foundation for the student to be at the top? Okay, you have very, very important role. Tak ada you, tak ada yang kat atas tu. Right? So this is how it should be in terms of teaching and learning, program learning outcome, and then the CLO, sepatutnya the cognitive, affective, psychomotor domain, and then what you do in class, and of course, how you assess, right? So whatever we do in class is to contribute to the program. And when we assess, we want to know whether students have learned what we think they should learn. So, if you notice, macam tadi, semua orang bergerak ke arah yang sama. This is OBE. Semua orang understand peranan masing-masing untuk mencapai yang satu. Yang kita sehaluan. Right? This is OBE. For us to make sure that we are moving towards one direction. Jadi sebab tu mapping dalam program in terms of CLO and PLO very, very important. Untuk tengok dalam program ni kita semua bergerak ke arah yang sama ataupun tidak. Ataupun kita buat benda yang sama dan tak ada orang buat benda lain. Sometimes katakanlah, let's say macam kata to achieve PLO 1. Semua orang buat PLO 1 tapi tak ada siapa pun buat PLO 6 or 8 or 3 or others. So there should be a nice spread. Yeah. So we do not want ourselves to be in that direction where we work very hard tapi sebenarnya kita tak tahu hala tuju kita ke mana in the context of the program. Or kita tahu juga sikit-sikit tapi masih lagi tak kemas. Right? So we want like that bigger arrow where kita semua nampak arah tuju kita in a very clear manner. Alright, we cannot work in isolation. Communication in the department, communication among the teaching team, yeah, very important. Okay. When you say, for example, tadi share information katakanlah macam buat test. This is considered as traditional education because you hanya test on the skill dan apa yang you perlu belajar je with that course. Okay, so we do not want to stick to this. Kita nak bergerak di mana we bukan saja bagi skill, bukan saja bagi knowledge, tapi ada character building. Ya? And in order to understand outcome-based education, we have to refer. We have to refer to MQF, good lines to good practices. Benda ni sangat-sangat penting for us to understand of how we manage things. And we can refer to documents yang disediakan oleh pihak universiti, yeah, and of course staff. And it is of course good to know Bloom's taxonomy related program standard. When you said macam tadi group tadi kan kata selalu dapat feedback kan, which is good. But it is also good kalau katakanlah you look at the program standard provided by MQA dan juga MQF framework because this is where you see apa pelajar-pelajar ni patut belajar di tahap tertentu, especially in program standard kan. Jadi you nampak program ni dia mesti ada ini, dia mesti kena belajar ini. So as a foundation personnel, what do I contribute to the whole plan? Okay, and it is also good if you can look at year 1, SEM 1 course outlines of related programs so that there is no redundancy. Ataupun you tahu, year 1, SEM 1, diorang akan belajar ini. Jadi in order dia orang belajar ini, apa yang you have to provide before dia orang belajar, apa yang dia belajar dalam year 1 sem 1. Okay? Because saya tengok juga bila kita tak ada communication ni, bila student pergi ke bachelor ataupun year 1 sem 1, dia kata, kita orang dah belajar ni, kita orang dah buat. Yeah? It's not wrong untuk dia buat, tapi level of difficulty kena direndahkan sedikit di tahap foundation, dan di bachelor ditinggikan sedikit. So all of you are like when you practice or achieve the PLO, you are the root to the whole plan. Kalau root tu lemah, then plan tu tak sihat lah. Yeah. Okay. When we talk about PLO 6 and 8, for example, macam di sini kan, in 2019 we did this survey dengan industry, and what we discovered was that the industry thought the students were, as you see in the picture. The industry tak bercakap sangat pasal skill, because you should have the skill. Tapi they look for other factors yang make the graduates or their staff valuable. Okay? For example, from my experience talking to various industry rep, macam Petronas and all that, when I ask them, what do you choose or what do you look into in a graduate, the first thing is always attitude. Dia sentiasa kata, attitude, willingness to learn, tak berkira masa, show good commitment. Bila saya tanya, how about the skill? Oh, yang itu tu standard lah, you should have. Kalau you tak ada, kita tak ambil you kerja. Tapi kalau nak pilih, these are the things that we look for. So you can see that skill is like macam dah by default. But what distinguishes a person to another is the character that the employers are looking at. Right? So that's why PLO 6 and 8 are very, very important for us to try to include, because without them, students kita boleh buat, tapi dia tak boleh mungkin function very well when they work later or even in the society. Yeah. So we have to make sure that our CLO is aligned to the PLO and program educational outcome. And when we look at 6 and 8, first towards lifelong learning and then leadership skills. And of course, we know that they overlap. Yeah, they overlap. Jadi katakanlah leaders have to be creative, and when you are creative, you can do this for the rest of your life, right? So these are the things that maybe you want to consider in your ACLO. Contohnya, if you can measure the way they solve simple problems, then measure. If you can measure use of technology, measure. If you can measure adaptability, try to measure. Okay. Okay. It is very important also while you work on your CLO, saya cadangkan you study Malaysian Qualification Framework 2nd edition. Even though there is no MQA standard for foundation, tapi kita boleh tengok what is expected of before degree and for degree. Yeah, and if you look at this table, you see that what is expected before degree is actually very, very broad and simple. Okay. Even when we talk about digital and numeracy skills, for example, kebanyakannya interpret, yeah, and a little bit of applying. Okay. So even when like here, solve problem pun in a very broad, right? Routine punya practices. Okay. So this was what you did. And what I found out. So saya map juga chemistry. And saya nampak problem yang agak sama, iaitu macam satu assessment ada banyak yang nak dibuat ataupun achieve, right? And repeated. I understand that you may want to repeat, like macam tadi saya bersembang dengan beberapa orang, memang kata, oh, after chapter 1, buat test. After chapter 2, buat test. After chapter 3, buat test. Yang itu tu, okay, if you feel that is necessary, that is fine. But if you ask me, that requires a lot of work, that you cannot rely your teaching by chapters. Tak boleh ikut chapter. Dia sepatutnya by knowledge or skill. Your course outline should be by what they need to learn, not by chapters of a book. Okay, right? So from chemistry, I saw this current, for example, define concept, solve problem dalam semua assessment. Okay, so maybe that can be reduced. And also, for example, perform experiment and predict properties. Saya rasa predict is very high level. Okay, I'm not so sure what you mean by predict, tapi kalau kita tengok Bloom's taxonomy, predict will require you to know a lot of things in order to know what's going to happen next. Right? So that is high order thinking, which you may want to avoid at foundation level. Okay? You can teach them, but maybe not test them. Not a problem to teach. Yeah. Okay. So here I suggest, for example, like daripada senang kepada high order thinking. Yeah. For example, let's say in quiz you can ask them to differentiate the concept because quiz sahaja, very simple. And assignment you can ask them to orally present. So here. They take charge, you see how they present, and you don't have to look at whether the grammar is good or not. Tapi I'm sure you have your own criteria, kan? Macam kalau katakanlah like word procedure, I'm sure you want to look at the organization, on the clarity, for example, then you masukkan benda tu dalam your rubric as you want it, as you see what you want out of your students. Yeah, and then the final exam, then have something moderate and more difficult. Okay, jadi tak perlu solve all the time. Okay. If you want to do it, what masa formative? Practice at solving. Apa ya assess? You can ask them to do in class. So katakanlah dalam class, let's say 1.5 hours or 2 hours, maybe allocate like 45 minutes teaching, and then the rest of the time, do a lot of solving practices. You don't have to assess, but assess them as a final exam. Okay, this is to ensure that they know what to do and can transfer the knowledge in whatever context. Okay, yang ini statistics study. Okay. So the last thing that I would like to look at is the assessment. Is that my first question is that how much time you spend on lecturing and also assessing. If you spend a lot of time lecturing, there is also a problem, which means that insufficient time is given for the students to try out the skills or knowledge. So I suggest that this is also something that you want to consider, like allocate, kata janganlah 2 jam lecture time, 2 jam tu you cakap. lecture, find ways where you lecture sekejap and students spend a lot of time doing something out of your lecture. And then you can ask them to do self-assessment, formative assessment, all right? For them to practice, not graded. Yeah, peer assessment pun shouldn't be graded. Yeah, I mean, peer shouldn't grade another peer. Right? Okay, peer assessment is like they can give feedback, tapi dia tak boleh bagi markah. Right? They are not trained to give marks, and they shouldn't be giving marks. They are not professionals. They are not credible. Right? Boleh bagi feedback. Contohnya, okay, bagi feedback on areas to improve or whatever, boleh. Yeah? Itu pun kena buat tactfully, right? Because kita takut memecah belahkan diorang, eh? They can fight, right? And then you can think about your summative assessment in terms of performance or like final exam. Okay, yang ini semua datang daripada dokumen good practice for assessment, so you can refer to that. Okay. So this is how I would suggest for you to do your assessment efficiently. Maksudnya get maximum result, achieve your CLO, tapi you don't have to spend so much time preparing, assessing, marking tu memanglah kena mark kan. But even today, marking also there's something you can assess so many creative ways of giving marks, right? So avoid repetition of assessments to assess the same skill. Avoid repetition. Okay. Plan more formative self and performance during lecture and as coursework. Assess specific course skill in a generic skill. Jadi maksudnya, you want to assess calculation, dia boleh calculate, tapi dia present in writing ataupun in presentation, yeah, in a specific context. You create lah context dia, kan? Contohnya calculate, contohnya awak nak pergi bercuti, please prepare a budget, kan? Macam tu, and you present. Dan yakinkan saya ini budget yang baik. Then you are not just looking at the core skill, but you are combining the core skill with to achieve PLO 6 and 8. And you can assess individuals in a teamwork through a process approach or do it progressively. For example, I give you an example. This is what I do in my class. Divide them into groups. The groups are given a topic, and then group members kena cari artikel. They know the article is for them to later write a literature review. Jadi group work. Tapi individually, they have to take one article to read and present. Itu markah individu. Jadi they contribute to the overall. Yeah? So markah, walaupun dia macam nampak macam project, tapi not really a project. But the assessment is divided, and throughout the semester, they have to ingat benda tu. Dia bukan macam buat, lupa, buat, selesai. Dia memang buat untuk masa depan, bukan buat dan lupakan. Alright? And then, for example, in my research methodology class, the group decide an area. Right? For example, the group in one group decided on propaganda, they want to research on language or propaganda, they want to research on code switching, they want to research on ambiguity in language, for example. Then they decide, and then every individual would have a scope or think of a variable. Jadi katakanlah, okay, code switching, I nak study on code switching among gender or among female. Any code switching among ni. Jadi dia ambil different perspective and they do it as personal assignments. And then they come back together and share the info and come up with one proposal and decide, oh, maklumat apa penting, maklumat apa tak penting, maklumat apa kita nak pakai, maklumat apa kita tak nak pakai, to come up with a proposal. Jadi throughout the process, not only they learn how to write a proposal, research proposal, tapi dia ada discussion, dia ada exchange of information, dia ada things yang dia take responsible as an individual, as well as thing yang dia kena contribute and communicate to the team members. Okay. Alright, with that I thank you. That's the end of my sharing. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lee. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Thanks. Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Lily. I think we would love to open for Q&A, but before that, I'm sure you would love to know how actually Dr. Lily assesses student care when you say that they have to work in group, they have to contribute in articles. Yeah, I think most of the participants here, they would love to know how do you actually assess those activities too. Yeah, so again, Dr. Lily want to respond, and again, we open Q&A for people to ask lah. Yeah, please. Yeah, you want to shoot the
Nak buka?
So please, Q&A, if you have any questions for us, Dr. Lily. That's all.
Assalamualaikum. This is a question from a friend, from my colleague. He said here, I just read what he wrote here. Okay, tadi kita cakap pasal yang membentuk student kan, based on a program. So he said contohnya student ICT program. Jadi betul ke understanding ni later? Tak semestinya setiap courses dalam program ICT kena ada PLO 6 dan 8 tu. Kalau ada at least 1 to 2 courses yang dah cover PLO 6 and 8 sepanjang proses teaching and learning di CFS, okay. Itu soalan pertama. Adakah kalau lebih 50% courses subjek di CFS mula ada PLO 6 and 8, is it too much?
Okay. Soalan pertama, whether semua courses kena ada PLO 6 and 8, memang tak semua perlu ada. Technically speaking, because kita tengok program, kalau outcome based education, kita tengok program, kita map. Katakanlah dalam satu program ada 5, let's say 5 courses, and then technically speaking, Course 1 ada PLO 6, Course 2 ada PLO 8, yang lain semua tak ada. Technically speaking, fulfill the requirement lah, basic requirement. But educationally speaking, cukup ke? Pelajar kita, macam katakan kita 5, kita ada 5 sekarang ni, dua orang ni je bawa peluru, kan? Yang lain tumpang-tumpang je. Cukup tak? Can we win the war? Macam itulah, kan? Jadi memang technically speaking, kita bila tengok mapping, program ni ada. Tapi can we achieve the students that we want to achieve? That is something that we have to look at. Kan? Jadi kalau lebih pada 50%, to me, satu, memang you kena tunjuklah how you measure. Kan? 2, if you can measure, the assessment is good, you can measure 100% pun tak apa. Kan? Because you are giving them lifelong skill. 100%, setiap orang ada pun tak ada masalah. The bigger the stronger. Adakan program ni semua orang ada PRO 6, PRO 8. Dia provide semua entrepreneur, lifelong, semua leadership. Yang ini seorang dua je. Of course karakter budak akan berbeza.
Ini dia berhaya. Okey.
Yeah.
Okay, is it fast untuk we reflect all the 6 and 8 ni dalam any of the criteria?
Is it compulsory? We all know in all our courses we do have leadership, we all do have teamwork, but not all subjects have it in our rubrics. So to what extent do we need to include so-called element from PLO 6 and 8 in our rubrics?
Okay, dia kan macam in the rubrics tu they have to display lah kan. They have to display, let me show you my rubric kan. For example, like in this course, kenapa dia tak move for the hang? They hang. Yang ini ni my mark sheet sebenarnya. Yang tu scroll up. Okay. Okay. I teach students MCOM or ECOM students to persuade, all right? I teach persuasive speech. And what I told my students, for example, okay, I teach them in terms of language, they have to be proficient, and then in terms of delivery, because they have to be persuasive, they have to have conviction and all this. So politeness, I tell them, I'm not, you tunjuk I benda-benda ni, because these are taught. Okay, these are taught in class. So this is something that is taught and also practiced and eventually assessed. Jadi, this is a group assignment now. Group assignment where they have to, rasanya Aizat pernah jadi tetamu dia orang kan dulu kan? Your student pernah invited you kan to present the idea. Aizat tak pernah ni This is an, tak ingat dah. This is an assignment where tak ada final exam. Tapi assignment ni dia kena invite one professional daripada luar. Tak kisah siapa, seorang je untuk dengar dia orang as a group present their idea and convince to accept. Jadi dia orang invite siapa-siapa yang dia orang nak as long as they are professional, and then dia present lah as group presentation, okay? But I give the marks, for example, on the aspects, other aspect yang I kata you have to deliver as an individual. But as a group, I look at the content and also the preparation. Jadi yang ini dia share. Tapi on the language itself, sorang-sorang. So the core skill, sorang. Tapi on critical thinking, because they have to discuss, sepatutnya discuss, sepatutnya prepare, that leadership, that apa semua, itu share. So it is assessed. Jadi kalau katakanlah dekat sini, the students will see, adalah dia cakap pandai macam mana pun, tapi kalau dekat team ni, dia orang tak discuss, dia tak ini, maka dia tetap jatuh. tetap turun. So this is where they see that how leadership apa-apa semua ni, teamwork ke, discussion ke, whatever is very, very important. Do I answer your question?
Maksudnya it's not necessary to have like leadership as the criteria.
No, no. Aspects, the skill. Macam contohnya di sini kan, I tell them, ada apa problemnya? Is that a problem? And what is the solution? Itu kan leadership skill. So, kalau dia tak pandai identify a problem, is it a real problem? Contohnya kadang-kadang kan bila dia present, benda tu bukan problem pun. Jadi, okay, katakanlah ini problem, ini kan solution yang sesuai. And then, another criteria yang I minta, criteria ialah solution yang you bagi tu sustainable ke tidak. Jadi, the aspects to
Decision making.
in the decision making and also in relation to what I teach. Yes. So I look at that and I give them marks. And if they can deliver this well, I can say they have achieved lifelong learning skills. Jadi aspek apa of that lifelong ataupun leadership ataupun mirror, yeah, yang you want to insert or you feel relevant, important for your students to have.
Hello.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Assalamualaikum, Doktor. Sebenarnya saya nak tanya sebab saya a bit dark. Currently, for my course, kami ada 2 quizzes, 2 assignments, and 1 final exam. Just now when I look at your presentation, you said kalau kita assess the same skill tu macam that will be like giving burden to the teacher, betul tak? Dekat tadi macam
Kalau assessment banyak.
Assessment banyak tu, but we only have 2 quizzes, 2 assignment. Cuma I was thinking macam kalau katakan contoh we decided to just have 1 assignment, so it will be considered okay lah kan, sebab cuma about the quizzes kan, the reason why kali kan macam we assess problem skill, student will basic programming in C++ language. So sebab kalau macam when we teach 1 topic and then we will have assessment for that. Dan kenapa kita ada assessment tu? Because we want student to be exposed to the format of final exam. Sebab nanti kena ada short answer, kena ada long question. So is that considered redundant? Macam katakan ada long question. Sama je nanti final exam pun we have the same thing. It is that we will like combine all topics.
Kenapa it has to be done in a form of an assessment and not practice?
We do have that. Macam after we teach 1 topic, we will like allocate about 20 to 30 minutes. We ask students to solve a question. We do have that also.
Okay, then kalau yang macam assessment tu kan, it's okay to do the assessment, tapi memang kena achieve a certain CLO, bukan macam part of your practice for the final exam. Itu tu kita kena be very clear, kan? Jadi kalau for practice for the final exam, then contohnya it can be done, kalau practice saja it can be done secara formative lah, practice je, short answers macam ni je, kan? Quiz question macam ni je, final exam akan keluar. Jadi kita tak perlu grade, kan? Tapi kalau katakanlah kita nak grade, maybe what we can do is that dalam final exam kita tahu dia perlukan knowledge A, B, C untuk buat D. Masa final exam kita test on D, tapi masa assignment kita buat A, B, C ni, supaya dia boleh buat D dalam final exam. Jangan buat A, B, C di sini, final exam pun A, B, C di situ. Jadi dia tak ada thinking dia tak apa kata, you tak take to the another level. Nampak?
Mungkin yang saya nampak from that situation, formative membuat, summative membuat.
Yeah.
Jadi macam
Saya rasa
double.
dalam catatan programming ni formative memang kena banyak.
Tapi
Memang
ini
kena dipertingkatkan lagi.
Dia ada formative pun ada, summative pun ada kan. Mungkin
Yes.
cukup dengan formative as you advise kan.
Um,
Mungkin
Summative boleh, final exam tu boleh buat, project pun boleh kan, coursework tu boleh buat. Cuma what you want them to show you that dia tahu apa, dia tahu buat apa. Jangan tunjuk dia tahu buat benda yang sama daripada quiz sampai ke final exam, benda yang sama. Thinking skill yang sama. Nampak tak? Macam katakanlah kan, katakanlah programming ada steps. Jadi kalau katakan kat quiz tu dia tunjuk order of the steps, kan? Simple kan? Order of the steps, true false, kan? Macam step ni betul, step ni salah, kan? Yang tu mungkin quiz punya level. Thinking level dia sangat kira understanding je lah, PLO1. Tapi bila katakanlah dalam final exam dia bagi case study, dia kata pilihlah step yang sesuai untuk selesaikan masalah ni. Dia kenalah rerun balik apa yang dia buat. So thinking order dia patutnya tinggi sikit, bukan sama. So bila thinking order lain, CLO tu akan lain-lain lah.
Thank you so much. Ada soalan lain? Ya, kita ada masa sikit lagi. Ada soalan lain? Dah ready ke nak access level 6 and 8? InsyaAllah. Okay, ya.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
I'm teaching mathematics. For the new subject, the new one, inshallah we need to include the PLO6. My question is about the rubric